my back, just me and my soul and my traveling sack, and I'm free. The breeze and the tide and the sun staring back, the sly Simeon sharing some of his snack. I say no. I'm in deep water, but my ship is near. There's one thing to go.
Welcome to the Jamly Chick, the only podcast that the beat sticks to your soul like glitter on the carpet. I am Alexius Lipo, your host, vibe curator, and occasional overthinker. If you're still checking out music from 2023, you found the right spot because it's time to get weird. Hey, welcome to the Jamly Chick. Today we have with us my co-host, Jason Lipo.
Hello, everybody.
And we're bringing on stage with us Ari Joshua with the All's-Eye. Welcome to the stage, Ari.
Yay.
How are you doing? Welcome to the Jamly Chick. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, it's great to join you guys.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit, introduce yourself and tell us a little about yourself and what you do.
For sure. So my name's Ari, and I am a guitar player, composer, educator, business guy, friend, family, energy enthusiast, channeler of energy, basically just I believe in music, like all in. Just I love music, and that's what I do all day long, one way or another.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
That's what we're here for too.
Exactly. Yeah. The Jamly, the Jam family, just bringing it all together and that love of music and everything. So, well, this is exciting. You've got a lot of things going on, not just All's-Eye, and you have the music factory, you teach music, you do lots of things. So first off, let's jump into the band, and y'all have had a couple of shows here recently, and y'all are about to go on tour. And everyone's like really curious about that and checking out the music. It's amazing. And y'all had an amazing turnout on the East Coast, didn't y'all?
Yeah. It's been really, really great, really fortunate. I mean, the coolest thing really is just the chemistry when we play, because everybody kind of knows a lot of the same, music and like it's really open to going in any direction. But yeah, we've been playing out in the East Coast because Ben and Chris live out there, and I lived in New York for a long time. I went to school in New York, and I lived in New Jersey and New York, and I love it there, and I love the East Coast. I love the people out there, and it's a lot easier to navigate in a lot of ways, especially in the jam scene on the East Coast. So it's great for me. I kind of had this vision, like, you have a vision board, and I was like, manifest East Coast band. And so that's kind of what this is in a way.
Oh, awesome. Very cool.
That's amazing. So where do you live right now?
I'm in Seattle. I went to high school in Seattle. I grew up in Seattle. After college, I stayed in New York for a number of years. And then when I came back here, I opened up a music school. It's like a school for kids called the Music Factory. And it just kind of started snowballing and taking off. And that's been going for like 15 years. So, that keeps me around here. It's also a gorgeous, beautiful city, and part of the country to be in.
Yeah, I'm longing to get out there.
That's definitely a city I haven't gotten to. And, I'm absolutely shocked. That's amazing. So you're West Coast, as a lot of the other people are East Coast. And that's amazing how that y'all are able to still make that work. And that's really cool and inspiring. And
yeah, sorry to cut you off. Kind of describe that writing process, how that goes for y'all. Like how does everything mix in with that and stuff?
Well, I would say that both Chris and Ben are really sharp and like very dynamic, like multi-dimensional players. and they both know how to serve the moment and to serve the song really well, which makes it easy for me to come in. I usually myself have like many like hundreds and hundreds of song ideas that are kind of already in my catalog, whether they're songs I like played with other ensembles but never recorded, or I write my song ideas down in like spiral bound music paper books, so I have like shelves of song ideas. So really, I mean, they're so talented that I can kind of show up and show them a song, and by within 5 or 10 minutes they have their parts like locked in. That's awesome. Really we went into a studio, this overnight studio in Connecticut called the Carriage House Studios, and we were there for a couple days, and it was the first time we'd ever collaborated on music in that way, and everything just like fell into place. And by the time we were done, we had like over 20 songs, like pretty much formed within a couple days. So
that's great. That's a lot of creative juices flowing. That's awesome.
For the ones of you that can't see us, that aren't watching this podcast, my jaw is dropped to the floor. Like that's just absolutely insanity that y'all can be all over the place and still have that vibe, put that together, and come out with such amazing music. And kudos, because that's definitely not something that we hear of often. People on separate coasts, and especially for like a smaller band growing, like when you're huge, yes, everyone can be everywhere, but as you're growing, and that's absolutely amazing. So how did this all begin?
As far as the Alzai, it actually started in my mind. I trace it back to like being on a podcast like this, and there's a podcast, and we were talking about my music and my goals, and I think after the podcast was over, we stayed on the line for a while and set up a follow-up call, and we were just brainstorming. Well, like, you need a band that's gonna be touring more, and like it just kind of like the dots kind of connected, like names came out, and one of the hosts made a few phone calls, and then kind of things started to kind of it just worked out.
Wow, that's amazing. That's so cool.
So you never played with them when you lived up north in New York and New Jersey or anything?
No, I mean, the first time I played with Chris was at Jazz Fest in New Orleans.
Oh, wow.
And the first time I played with Ben was, I think, at that studio session I was talking about. Maybe the year before, we did a few small shows, but no, I'd never played with him when I lived out there.
That's awesome.
So how did you meet Chris?
Through the podcast,
I have like a love affair with vintage keyboards and people who play them like correctly. And there's certain keyboard players that are like, they'll compromise. I mean, you can get a great sound out of a electric keyboard, it'll get you like 99% there, but there's something magical that happens in that top 1% when you have really old analog vintage keyboards. And
definitely
there's a certain way that some people play the organ in particular, that comes from like the jazz tradition of playing bass lines and driving the organ in a certain way, that you kind of have to study that way. And when I hear someone play that way, it just like turns on my I don't know, my peacock feathers go up.
Your sass, you got that.
You're hearing the Ray Manzarek,
So I mean, I had, he's on my radar for that, and when we were able to play in New Orleans, we had a couple of nice conversations, and I just felt like, hey, this guy's a really good guy, and like he really understands what I want to do with music, and we were having these conversations, and it just felt like I would really like to explore this.
That's awesome. So what do you want to do with music since you're saying that? How did they?
Yeah.
Let's have that combo.
What's your main
I
goal,
love
or
music so much. I guess my first word when I was a kid was music. Like I was at my grandmother. I was born in Africa, and my grandmother lived like on the southern tip of Africa there, and on the beach across the way, and in this old building with like a big elevator, like with the old like 1920s elevator. And I even kind of have memories of this, but I was told that I would get off the elevator and run straight to her record player and say "Mimic" because I wanted them to put the record on. And I kind of almost had this memory of like the adults being like, "Oh, he really likes music," like, I think I was really lucky to grow up in a time period. Like you guys seem like you might be close to my age. Maybe you're probably younger than me, but like I feel like I was really
just
lucky.
Turned 18.
Yeah, exactly. Congratulations. Sweet 16 party 2 years late.
Exactly. Yes, here we go.
But yeah, I mean, I got to like, see a lot of the legendary jazz musicians, and I saw the Grateful Dead when they were still in action. I saw the 90s rock and roll bands, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Black Crowes, Spin Doctors. I mean, I think the simpler thing is just that I got exposed and turned on to music at a really young age, and I didn't really start playing music until I was a bit older, but I was already like really in love with it. And because I grew up at that time period where, there's something that happens when you learn music directly from playing it with people, or directly from like learning directly from the record, or like by ear. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think that this new generation there's so many ways to get information now. But if you think about like all the legends that came leading up until like the 90s, like some of the greatest players of all time, like they learned by ear. And I think like I was really lucky to grow up, at a time period where the music was on records and cassettes still, and radio. And that in that time period, I was exposed to be able to see so much like amazing music live. And so what I'm getting at is that I grew up like starting being into the blues and really into like rock and roll and like the grunge era and Hendrix and Zeppelin and like classic rock. And then when I was in 9th grade, like my first year of high school, I got really lucky and I made it in the jazz band at our school. So I started getting exposed to jazz. But this band was like a special band. Like we toured Europe and Mexico in high school. And so I was like hanging out with trumpet players and saxophone players and like learning from them who their favorite musicians are, and learning about that language. And then right away, almost 9th grade, 10th grade, that's when I got to see the Grateful Dead in their last 2 years. And so I had this like, grunge, like rock, like intensity to what I loved. And then I was exposed to jazz, and I saw the Grateful Dead and how they kind of like merged all those worlds together with improv and jazz and rock. And then like a year after that, or I guess not a year after that, I guess it was right at the same time, like it's like almost like a month later or whatever, got to see Fish for the first time. All that stuff kind of really clicked. So I really love like playing jazz and playing with people who can play jazz, but I really want to reach people on a spiritual level. And I find that like the jam audience for lack of a better word, shows up like ready to go on a journey, wanting to go on a journey, like wanting to have a transcendental experience, wanting to be like placed in the capable hands of a great artist. And so I guess like if you ask the question of like, what am I trying to do with music? It's like, I think I spent most of my life training to be ready so that I can show up in the moment and do my best job in the moment to communicate with the players that I'm playing with, whether there's people there or not. And if there's people in the room, to, as best I can, be trained to be able to like check my ego at the door and play the right notes in the right places to be able to take them somewhere or give them some kind of a transcendental experience. Because in doing so, I get to experience it as well myself. So
yes,
that's awesome.
I love that. That's amazing. And I love your mission of that. I think that's exactly you saying that kind of wrapped it around for me of like, I was never in the jam band scene before. And when I came to a Dead show, you know, I didn't get to see Grateful Dead, but I got to see Dead and Company. And I could have seen them, but I just didn't have the knowledge at that point. I was a Southern girl, you know, more bluegrass and beach music and stuff is our music down here. And so, but what I loved about the jam scene and that brought me in was how everyone shows up ready for that experience, 100% ready. And I love that that's your mission. And, you know, I would love to see that at every concert, you know, because that's the only genre that you see the people and Jimmy Buffett, but, you know, Buffett concerts are no more, but those literally have been the only two type of genres that show up like that, ready, you know, that they're at the door waiting, you know, as the jam improv.
There's a humbleness to the whole jam scene and the people in it, you know what I mean? And a real genuine, you know, a real genuine spirit about wanting that experience, you know?
So I love that you're wanting to expand that across other genres and across other things and bring that in. And that's awesome. I love that. That's a beautiful thing. Tell us about your Music Factory records.
So Music Factory is the music school. The music school is like a physical location in Seattle on MLK and Madison. We've got like a number of rooms. And like if you were to walk in there between, you know, 2:30 p.m. and 8 p.m. on a weekday, you'd see families and kids and teachers coming in and out of classrooms. You'd see, you know, cellos and violins and guitars and keyboards and that whole thing, kind of happened around me. It was a vision I had for sure, and I just decided, one day I wanted to have a music school. But the genesis of that, or the evolution of it, is kind of like could be placed as, you know, in today's society, it's really difficult to find your value as an artist. Like, it's really hard to make a living. And I think that a lot of people, like collectively, I think the entire population knows that, but it's really unfortunate that, to be honest, that people aren't doing more about it. It's one of those like, oh yeah, that's too bad. It's like homelessness. It's like, oh, that's too bad. Like, or drug addiction. It's like, you know, that's too bad that this whole demographic of people are having a hard time with this. Everybody knows, but you know, we're just in this situation where it's like the industry.
But we keep on trucking on it. If we know, but we keep.
It's the tech industries and stuff, you know. But the thing is, you end up as a musician, if you're trained and you've really put your work in, like your 10,000 hours, you can always make a living by teaching lessons. And I was able to, you know, make more money in 1 hour of teaching or 2 hours of teaching than I would make at an entire night of playing like a 3-set, you know, 4-hour gig. Right. So it just was like, okay, well, I guess this is what I'm doing. And I think that's the same with a lot of other players. And then like, it's like, okay, well, if I figured that out, let's make space for other people to be able to do the same thing and make a living, you know, doing what they love. Like, if you're a musician, you shouldn't have to do another job. You should be able to just do your art and maybe some teaching. So that evolved. And then the idea of that was like, someday I'll get this company, to the point where, if I want to play a show and I want to have like nice artwork for it, like a poster, like at least I can afford the artwork. It's like, that's how, because like the gig pays this much, and you got to pay your rent. It's like, you want a poster, most people can't even afford it, like kind of thing. Yes. So adding the record label is something we did like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. And that happened during pandemic, because the teaching kind of slowed down, and it just gave everybody time to sit with themselves.
Yes.
And I think I was able to like sit with myself and be like, wait a minute, like I'm doing this because I love to do this. I'm doing this because I love to make my art. I'm doing this because I want to find people to resonate my art with, like not just to teach or to facilitate teachers and all that. Like there's this important piece that's missing here that's getting neglected. So I started the label to be able to figure out how the industry works and how to get my music out there the best way possible, because nobody else is coming in. Like nobody's going to sign you anymore. Like nobody's going to give you 10 grand to make a record, or $5,000 to promote it. And to be honest, like there's that side of it. Some people are like, when the record labels came in, they'd own you kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But I would rather have someone own me. Like if anybody's listening right now and they have, you can own me. Like you could have it. Like if you can make sure that my band has transportation, hotels, artwork, management, booking, that we can go, play 150, 200 shows a year that are going to be well attended, and that I can make, 4 albums a year. You can own all of it if you can make that happen. You know what I mean? Like,
right. And people have this misconstrued idea that if you're a musician, that's exactly what's happened. No, that only happens to like your ones coming out of LA that are, like that they have been chosen to do this. Like the musicians like you, True, that have, I'm not saying that musicians coming out of LA, because there are some really good ones that have, but, your majority of them they have been paid, they have that. But the majority of musicians all around do not have that, and y'all are busting your butts to get to where you have to get doing. And me working on this side of the business now, sometimes I'm just absolutely shocked, and just seeing, I'm like, wow, these people are leaving their family, doing all this and putting all of this in, and
just to get a little out,
to get a little, and that love and that appreciation. They love doing what they do. And on that point, I'm like, wow, you really love what you're doing when you are taking that chance for years and years and years and years. And so it's a very respected thing. And I'm happy that you brought that up, because everyone just automatically thinks it's a cool world to be in. And I don't think that they see like how many, just like you said, how many hours of work that it takes to actually get there, So,
and that's just one factor in it, just the music itself is so much time and development,
right? And then it comes with all the other things, because it's not just like it was in the 70s. It's not just the music and putting this out and stuff. Now you've got your social media, your, all these things that go with it.
We don't have a David Geffen and a, Billy Graham and
so, but
you really have to like be a Renaissance person. You really have to think like very, very big picture. And there's so much that goes into it, but you really have to be creative, especially today, trying to figure out how it's all going to work,
Yes, exactly. Smart idea too on starting the label, to figure out how everything worked.
Well, yeah, like we have like a friend of mine who worked at building TuneCore. So like there's DistroKid and TuneCore are the 2 places you can get your music digitally distributed, like the 2 main places you can go. But like I was on DistroKid, and they owe me a check for like $1,300 from like all the streams I've had going back like 5 years from the music I put there. and I can't even get that money. Like I fill out the form, and it's like and they take 2-3 weeks to reply. There's so many hoops. I imagine there's got to be like 100,000 musicians out there that are like, I had like $1,000 in there. Most people probably only have like $20 or like $80 from their streams. And most people are probably like, oh, fuck it, I'll just leave the money in there, like
right,
they make it so difficult. And so, I mean, I'm like, screw this. Like, and so my friend happened to be, he worked for the company that created those companies. So he basically built for us, Music Factory Records and a few other labels, this entire back end thing. So when I put a song out through the label, like the last couple of songs we put out, we get to, first of all, our pitch goes directly to Apple or directly to Spotify, to the person who's in charge of the editorial. So they get to decide if they want to bump you in the algorithm or not. But it goes like directly to someone who's like a real human, and then I can see the results and just, I mean, there's just so much to learn. I mean, I'm just I'm over my head in it, but like at least I'm
swimming in it.
Yeah, I'm just swimming in it. Yeah, like every day's like a new thing. You're like, oh, it's a shark. Oh, it's a jellyfish.
Yeah, what is that? What's that thing? Yeah,
that's driftwood, I think.
Yeah, but
so what? So do you do a solo, Ari Joshua solo act also?
I mean, all the time. I mean, like there's a festival coming up in September that I got booked to do a solo thing at. I'll play a lot of, I mean, I've just played a lot of situations, trios, quartets, solo. I'm always making music.
What type of instruments do you all play?
Or I mostly play guitar and guitar related stuff. I definitely, can play some mandolin and some banjo and some ukulele and things like that. But yeah.
That's cool. Awesome. We were at the Fiddlers Convention last night. So I have a video of me like trekking through, like all you can hear at first are like my feet on leaves, just like, because it's the Fiddlers Convention. So everyone's got their,
it's in the woods.
yeah. It's like camping. It's like a music festival. So literally, and we know how to faster get to Hippie Hill. So I was like, let's go. And it's up a hill and over. So, but we got there.
What city is it?
It's in Mount Airy, North Carolina. So nice. We have one. It's the first weekend in June, and then in Galax, Virginia, which is
it's the second weekend in August.
The second weekend in August.
It's the world's biggest Fiddlers Convention.
Yeah, and so Galax is like maybe 45 minutes from us, if that. Yeah. And so we always hit up these two things. It's really cool because there are a lot of world-renowned players, and so because no one knows who anyone is, everyone's like throwing together bands last minute, like you're going in like
everyone's just jamming together.
They
have a main competition, with the band.
Yeah, acoustic instruments and stuff.
Yeah.
Those are the best. I love that. Everybody knows like the basic tunes.
Yep.
And like there's like different jams of different levels, and a lot of times those festivals are great because like the top tier players that are on the stage get off the stage and then they go find a little jam to just jump in on, like, and you're like, oh my God, it's so-and-so right there from that other thing. Like just
that's exactly what,
that's the beauty of it.
That's the beauty of it. And that's what happens here. And then, like as the night goes further, it goes on, and they'll like end up the funniest thing is like as you're hearing like bluegrass being played and as like for line dances and stuff, and just like random, like they'll just start being like, everyone to the left, everyone to the right. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, so when I was listening to your music, I heard a lot of jazz influence and things, and as you've been talking about this, a lot of all the influences, rock, jazz, and so you definitely have a dictionary of genres, and that you're amazing at playing. So that's really cool that you can play.
I love it's such a joy because it's just there's so many things to choose from. It's like we're in the we're like, again, like living at this time. Like if I was alive, we were alive at like the year 1700 or before, or even like 1850 or 1900. Like music would still be amazing, but like think about how much we have right now. It's just like there's so many choices. It's like, and there's like so many great people in each genre that have like defined just greatness, you know.
And people are still defining each genre, you know, which is
for sure. And now there's just so much going on too, like digitally, like as far as what you can do production wise and in the studio, and you know, you see people with like just Ableton, like laptop kind of stuff. I mean, it's endless.
It's endless. It's truly it's truly endless, and it's really awesome how people get things out. Like I'm on independent radar things, and I'll be looking at different music that's out and people coming out with it. And it's truly amazing what these people come out with, and that they're just recording at home by themselves, you know, and coming up with some fire stuff, you know, and that's also the sad thing is there's a lot of music that's not being discovered whatsoever. That's a reason.
Not knowing how to promote.
Knowing how to promote, do things. And so that's another reason that we like doing what we're doing, is trying to like listen, trying to like, you know, get the music out there that needs to be gotten out there, you know, and get the word on the street so that we can
help support live music. Support the arts, you know, because it's very important. It's a very important to culture and, you know, the whole life experience, to be honest. I mean,
so I'm excited for what you're doing, because it's parallel, like we're running on the same lines of like, you know, getting the music out there, getting that going. So tell us about, you have tour coming up. When does that start?
On the 26th of June in Seattle. The guys are coming out. We're starting off at the Sea Monster Lounge on Thursday, and then Friday we'll drive up to Bellingham, which is like kind of like a hippie town, north, kind of between here and Canada. We're pretty far north. And then Saturday, as of right now, we have on hold like a recording multimedia room in town. It's in Soto, so it's like downtown. It's called Mob Studios, but we haven't put it on the poster, so it's kind of just being figured out. But that would be like a live recording kind of thing.
Oh, nice.
And then, sweet.
Yeah, like, and that would be like off grid, like no, you know, like you could come, you know, come as you are, you know.
I'm so jelly that I'm out here on the East Coast.
I'd love to do a tour of all Not at Bar shows. Like that would be a dream of mine. I don't know when or how, but especially with this band, like to do a tour of like maybe abandoned churches or just like warehouses, and then decorate them and make it so it's like a safe place to kind of trip out, you know.
That'd be sick.
So that's Saturday. Might be that, and then Sunday we're gonna play a outdoor music festival on Harstein Island called Harstein Hoopla, and it's like as cool a music festival as you can get, with about 20 bands, 2 stages, but it's like in the most beautiful woods, and it's super small. Like it's not like a huge festival. It's like a small intimate festival.
I love those festivals, those intimate festivals. Those are where you have fun, you know. That's where you can get down and dirty and not have to worry about thousands of people seeing you. You can have fun with your peeps. So that'll 100%. Be awesome.
Yeah, this is a spot. This has been my favorite. And then Monday we're going to be in Tacoma at the Spanish Ballroom, which is like a nice big room. If you're in Tacoma, buy your tickets for that one. It's a big room, so we need help filling those seats. And then the next day, Tuesday, we'll be in Olympia, and that will be at the Eagles Club with a band called Space Whales. And then Tuesday we're going to end off in Portland at this place called the Get Down, and that's also a big room. That's in Portland. So if you're in Portland, Tacoma, I mean, any of these, you're not going to be able to see this band for a while, you know, and we're probably going to add a bass player at some point. So this will be like one of the times to catch us as a trio, which is fun.
Ooh,
And
good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, and I mean, it's really fun because it's still so fresh. We've got like a repertoire of like 30 songs, but
That's a lot of songs though for a fresh band that y'all have just put together.
But we're just playing them for the first time, so it's like
this is all damn.
It's a great catalog. Right
this is what you want, people.
Yeah,
jump on it.
Yeah, jump on it. Be there as you're growing and be a part of it and get that intimate part. And that's something I love about you and your band members and stuff. Is like all of y'all are just definitely intimate people, get to know people. And that's something when we were talking to DK Harrell last week that he says it's like, one of the most important. Do you know DK, the blues artist?
I don't know. I should.
Oh, but he's amazing. And but he was saying last week, how the band members will sometimes get upset because he'll stay there, sometimes 2 and 3 hours afterwards talking and, talking to his fans and stuff. And he was like, but it's so important to have that connection and, and talking with you and with that community and building that community. So it's beautiful that not everyone, but some people are starting to see how beautiful that connection is and how important it is. And that's why I was saying that intimate festival and those intimate things are amazing. And that's as you want to get to know it. So as you're growing, and for people listening, it's going to be awesome. Definitely get out there, check it out for you West Coast peeps. And for any of you East Coast peeps going to be on the West Coast at that time, definitely get out there and check it out because you will be growing. You will be doing all these things and be there for the growth of it. And y'all have some merch already and stuff, right?
Yeah, I've been it's kind of like how I do stuff. Like, I look at like the price of like making t-shirts and how many, and I'm like, I'm not sure what kind of t-shirt design I want to do, but I know that I want to be an artist that has t-shirts and cool t-shirts, So what I did this last 2 months is I took a class on how to make t-shirts.
Ooh.
Like a screen printing class?
Yeah. So yeah, this is like a press.
Oh, a hand press. Nice.
Yeah.
Heat press.
Nice.
So I'm kind of like making my own designs right now. I'm playing around with different things. So we'll definitely have some of that stuff there.
Heck yeah.
I thought it'd be cool actually to have like, imagine if you could go to a show and you could have like your choice of designs and then have it made for you right there.
Shut up.
Like what if you had an airbrush artist doing them?
I mean, that's exactly like you could have an airbrush artist and it's like you could only get that t-shirt at that event.
Yeah, dude, like
really
bring it back, yo. That's awesome. It's so funny, like seeing the kids, when we were younger in the 90s, we were like, man, this is, why couldn't we have been in the 70s? Like when people were making music, and like.
Imagine who you could have seen in the 70s.
And then now as adults, and I was talking at the beginning of the show and just like how, wow, we're really part of this time. There's a lot of things going. It's so awesome how it has wrapped around to that and being amazing and how many amazing musicians that we just didn't realize how amazing they were at the time, so, but.
Well, in the jazz world, there's like the whole entire jazz thing happened like from the 20s to the 60s. In a way, like jazz, as you think about it in a traditional sense, like hasn't it's evolved, but like the giants of jazz were like John Coltrane, Duke Ellington, Charlie Parker, Miles Davis, anyone who played with Miles Davis, those guys are literally like not alive. I mean, they were alive in the 90s. They were like when I went to school, I got to study with a lot of them, and that's like that was a real treat.
Are you
what I'm saying
serious?
Is like they're like literally like disappearing. Like there's no one to replace them. Like that's the only, like there's never going to be another Sonny Rollins or another, you know what I mean? So like if you got to see them, you got to see them. Like right now you could still see Stevie Wonder,
Yeah.
But like
we better get our tickets to Stevie Wonder. It just makes me like, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Even Bob Dylan, like you could see Bob Dylan still, right?
But,
yeah,
definitely.
Exactly.
That's if you can see the legends,
But you gotta give it up for someone like Billy Strings,
Oh,
who's who picked up the torch and ran with it. And it's not so easy because, like I said, there's a lot of players out there that are really great. Like there's other players that are, as good as anyone. They're out there, but there's not like a machine like picking them up, recording them, putting them on the road like there was back in the day. You have to manifest it all kind of yourself mostly these days. And you have to have a group of people around you that believe in you, that, but I saw an interview with Billy Strings that really impressed me. He was like, when he was getting started, he was like, okay, how many people play bluegrass guitar? And it's like, oh, that's a lot, right? Pretty good. And he's like, well, how many people play bluegrass guitar and sing? And he's like, okay, well, if I do both, then I put myself ahead like that. And he's like, how many people play bluegrass guitar and sing and will do covers of like obscure stuff that no one else does? It's like, oh, that puts me another level up. Now, how many people will play bluegrass guitar, sing, do obscure covers, and is willing to play, 200 shows a year or whatever?
Yeah.
Like you just have to do. Yeah. I don't know. I guess.
It's right outside the box lines right there.
Yeah.
It's simple things, but it's just, exactly. Just taking it and fine tuning. Well, this,
Exactly. And dude, I being from Bluegrass Nation, Billy Strings, at first my dad plays the banjo and guitar.
He's going to be a legend.
Oh, Billy Strings, he already is a legend.
Yeah.
So,
he's a legend.
But it was so funny because I didn't realize one of my good friends was dating his lighting guy. And we talked on the phone every day. She's another photographer. And we talked on the phone every day. And she was like saying stuff. And I was like, dude, I don't know what this obsession with Billy Strings is, da-da-da. Mm. And she kept saying things. And I just did not put it together in my head. And that her boyfriend was the lighting guy for Billy Strings. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, oh, whatever. He's not, whatever. And then they were like, all right, Alexius, how about we give you tickets to go check out Billy Strings and see him live in person, and then, give us your opinion. And I was like, all right. And so they give us like 4 VIP tickets to 2 big nights back to back. And he was so sweet. Billy was so sweet, gave us a set list, and then second night came out and signed it and everything. But after the first night, of course, I was like, I was wrong. Billy's amazing. He's absolutely amazing. It was just that how can a Midwesterner be that good at bluegrass and not even be from here? And he is. He is, by golly, he is.
Doesn't matter where you're from.
It doesn't matter where you're from at all.
Or
because
who you are.
Honestly, in jam band scene, it's like if you're not, for some reason, I just thought that you were from Connecticut. I just thought that you were from there. And then when you said Washington today, I was like, what? And so it's just that assumption of if you're doing a jam band or if you're doing this thing, like, oh, all the jam banders come from the Northeast, the blues and jazz players come from the Southeast. Yeah. That's making sure I'm saying my directions properly. What else? Anything else that you have going on? Because you've got a lot going on.
I recently released a few songs, Reversible, Submersible, and Blurry Face are 2 songs I released with John Medeski and Billy Martin from Medeski, Martin and Wood. Those just came out. They're available at musicfactoryrecords.com to buy. And then when I released those, I got a new person helping me with my label who actually worked with one of my favorite guitar players on the planet, Kurt Rosenwinkel, but he's not in the same scene. He's like a jazz guy. Yeah. She worked with him developing his label. So she's helping me. And one of the things we're doing now is like, if you go to the product site, you can download a jam along track. So I remixed the song where I took out all the solos, and then just the basic drums, rhythm guitar, keys are there for the form of the song. So anyone could go there and jam along with it. And we're like going to encourage people to open that up and then play along. And if you put a video of yourself playing it, we'll post it on our social media.
I love this.
I mean, I could do a screen share with you and kind of show you like some of the ins and outs.
Screen share, man.
But basically, like I'm. So then another thing I have we have the sheet music, so you can learn the song. So anyone who can read music can download the sheet music and play the song, the backing track, the regular track, and then in making the backing track, you know, where you have to like kind of like grab all the parts, the best of the best from the song, and then that are like loopable. And then, hey,
I know. I was like, whoa, that guy, because I was trying to get it to like where if we shared the screen that it would, you know.
Yeah. I'll do a screen share, but but the other thing I'm doing is I don't know if you can hear audio, like if we can share audio on here. Like if I played audio, would you hear it, or would you have to play it, or?
I don't know, but you can share it with us and we can put
try
it in at this
point.
Yeah.
So I just finished so I took like 6 songs that are out there. So there's like Rare Groove has Delvon Lamar, Skerrick, and Grant Schroff from Polyrhythmics on it. That's a song. I got another couple songs with John Medeski and Billy Martin, Elephant Walk and Pray Sue. These songs that I took the stems, like which is like in hip hop, that's what they do. They take the stems from like classic songs, you know, and then remixed them. So I remixed my own songs. So that's like one of the things the label's doing is we're going to remix our songs. But like, this is the great part. Like I put it out to the universe that I wanted to do this. And then I ended up with Africa, Baby Bam from Jungle Brothers. Like, do you guys know the Jungle Brothers? The Jungle Brothers were like big in the 90s. They were like, like if you look at their bio, I think they call themselves the first hip hop duo. Like ever. They had like you're like because I got it like that because I got it like that, you know, like there's like some songs like that you're just like, oh shit, like I know these guys, you know, or if you like there was the Jungle Brothers, there was the Black Sheep, there was a Tribe Called Quest, you know what I mean, like they were like a crew. And so anyway, I've got like 6 songs where I remixed them and he rapped over them.
Oh, cool.
That's so cool.
Let's see. So like reversible, submersible. So are you guys able to see this now?
Yes.
Yeah, it's up.
Mm-hmm.
So if I press play, can you guys hear it?
Yep. We can, yeah.
Like, does it sound like you're hearing it through my speaker, or are you actually hearing the high quality?
We're probably hearing it through your speaker.
Yeah. Okay.
Then
I'll just do a tour, and then I'll find some videos to share where I can share the audio. But basically, the way it is like this right here is like this is the whole song over here. So like if we're like making the song, you know what I mean? The actual song would be like a lot more than this. Like it would be like 30 tracks maybe, you know?
Right.
But then the stems, I boil it down to like just all the drums, just, you know, all the keyboards, all the bass. So like the bass might be like 4 different channels, or the drums might be like 8 different mics in the studio.
Oh wow.
And then I'm boiling it down to like that's just the drums, right? But it's like the drums from the recording. And it's amazing because it's Billy Martin. He's like one of my favorite drummers of all time, you know? So it's like painting with like, so then I can add in this layer right here, which is just the keys. Let's see. So you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The keyboard riff.
Yeah.
So I sampled that from John, from Medeski, and I can put that now. I can put that with the drums. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's sick. Yeah.
So now I have this remix going, and then I could add the bass. And so when someone goes to the website, when I release a song, there's like a jam track like this, where they could play along to it and then grab, you know, and learn how to play a song. So I'm just going to scroll back here.
That's super cool.
See if
That's really cool.
this faster. Scoot, scoot, scoot.
Yeah, it's like trying to edit video
To
too.
the left, to the left, to the
Hold on.
right, to the
Can't take-
right. Now side, baby.
There you go, getting there. Okay, so like this is my little looper thing. So like I'm gonna loop like a smaller section.
Those are those keys, yo.
Yeah, so that's gonna loop now. See what I'm
There you
saying?
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
And then let's put the whole thing in there. So like that's what each one of these is. Like each one of these things right here is like a small clip.
Mhm.
So like, these are like my favorite like bass parts right here, from the song. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How is that doing that on mine?
And then I can mix and match that with different drum loops. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So I've been doing that with everything.
That's very cool.
This is super cool.
Oh yeah, and then there's a
How
lot.
to. Also with a how to. Yeah.
I think this one is going to be out soon. Just to give you an example. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So where the vocals. Here we go.
1, 2, 3, and out in the wild where the
Yeah,
suburbs
can you hear that?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Father matriarch wise and old. She carries the stories of battles untold. They march through the plains, dust on their feet. Each step is a rhythm of your heartbeat. Through rivers that rise and forests that fall, they stand together, the largest of all. But there's a whisper in the wind, a storm in the air. The land is divided, the herd unaware. Should they follow the path they've always known?
See?
Or carve a new trail where the seeds are sown? Let's listen back. Elephant walk, the mighty roam. The mighty elephant walk, far from home. Elephant walk, the mighty roam. The mighty roam.
So that's a song that I produced called Elephant Walk that's out there. That's just a quartet or just a trio with me and John and Billy released. So you can hear that on like Apple Music, or you can get it at my website. And then we took all the stems and chopped them up, and then we remade them for hip hop. So like this is only using like, maybe like 3% of the actual song. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
we're just grabbing like the bass from this part, this part, this part. We're just grabbing the drum from this and this. We're just grabbing the keyboards here and here. And then we reorganize it to make a hip hop track. So that's something I'm really excited about. That's coming up. That's coming up soon.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That's,
Thank you for sharing that. That's
yeah.
very cool.
That is super
It's like
cool.
behind the scenes of like of how that works. Yeah. How do I unshare this? There we go. So this is the All's Eyes music,
Nice.
and then this is my music skill.
Wait.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's like Seattle, and then you go down to the drone. This back here is
It's kind of hard to hear, like,
Oh yeah, you hear now?
Yeah,
It's hard to hear the music now.
no, it's good. You can hear it loud and clear.
oh,
There we go. Just
yeah,
there we go.
there we go.
Now we can hear you.
Yeah, sorry, I was like, how does this go?
Yeah, now it's like coming down.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find another thing.
So for the people who can't see, who are just listening, we've just been going over like a how-to thing, and then right now he's showing a video about the music factory and the school and what he's opened up. And so definitely, when you have a second, tune back in and check this back out.
Definitely. So how long has the music factory been open, Ari?
So the school itself has been open for how do I unshare this now? Just or remove here.
Oh, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
I started the school like in like 2006, maybe when I moved back, 2006, 2007, just before the economy crashed. And it's a great time to start a business because like everybody's like, oh man, it must be really hard. And you're like, I mean, actually, I don't know any better because I'd never, it was like, I'm just doing it. But like, it was like just me by myself. And then it was me and one friend. And I lived in the building upstairs, to make it work. And I think for 3 or 4 years, I lived in the building. And now it's been 15 years. And 2 years ago, the building came up for sale. And it's not like widely advertised, but I'm allowed to tell a few select people. But our building went for sale and we were going to have to move out. And that was going to be it. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to, continue or what, Right. But one of the guys from Pearl Jam happens to be a friend of mine, who's just like got a huge heart and a big, just a really amazing human being, kind of heard about what was happening and basically helped me buy the building.
That's amazing.
That's
absolutely amazing.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
What a good heart. And paying it forward in the music world. That's so awesome. And that's what I think that's how it continues to grow in this world is because what we were talking about earlier is, we're barely getting paid, anything in different ways and sometimes not getting paid at all, just doing it because we absolutely love it. And, and then, for the people who have made those breakthroughs and stuff, like to be able to, turn around, that's so kind, so amazing, and so awesome that they did pay that forward, and that's so awesome. I'm so happy that happened because you do have such an amazing mission and such an awesome thing that it did not need to stop. I will say that much. And so thank heavens the universe brought it all together.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it is true. Like, every little thing you can do to help an artist, especially nowadays, like that we've gotten to this point where we're all kind of slaves to this digital, these companies. But yes. When you see someone's music come by, like it doesn't cost you any money. Like you don't have to, like we're not even asking you to buy anything. Just hit a like or do a comment when you see, and it like how much it makes the artist feel, like someone's listening, and then the algorithm is just gonna find more people like you. You know what I mean? And it's like, any kind of paying it forward or helping out, it's just so huge in this music world,
Yeah,
it is. It's so huge. It's so huge in and outside of the music world, just being kind to others, taking that moment just to stop and listen and not just rush by and just all be all about ourselves. And so that's an awesome thing. And you're exactly right. It's free. It just takes a second. And people are what I call death scrolling anyway. They're just scrolling their lives away. That's why I call it death scrolling, So how hard is it to really take like that? And because a lot of times I'll be like, oh, this is sick, watch this, but never take that second and like it. It's just like throw that like up. And just like you said, it helps get that thing in the algorithm and stuff. And then we don't know who's listening, who's not listening. It's like, give us something, like we don't like it, we do like it, some bit of, constructive criticism back, as long as it's constructive. So, but yeah, you're exactly right. Well, dude, you've got a lot of amazing things going on, and I am so excited. And we're definitely going to have to check back in on this because there's a lot, and you're a big future, and it's amazing. So, but you have any more questions?
I
have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I got a lot of questions.
That's not the thing.
I want to ask you guys some questions. Like, how did you end up doing this podcast, and how do you guys how do you know each other, and how do you guys meet?
Well, we're actually married.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
Yeah, we met in high school.
Hilarious.
No way.
Yeah, so he was a freshman and I was a senior, and he played soccer and I played tennis. And soccer and tennis teams, they kind of hang out because it's the same time of year, same time of games, or same time as the games and stuff. And so we would, hang out afterwards and do all that stuff together. And so, this little freshman just kept like showing up everywhere. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? And so he kept asking me out, and I was like, nah, I'm about to go to college. Nah. And so we finally went on a date. And then after that, we were together. And so just been doing the music thing, been doing the, So
yeah, we just celebrated our 17th wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Last month. Yep.
Yeah.
So we have 2 beautiful daughters, and
So, but
You're really into music.
We're both. He's a drummer, and so I play the piano, but not like I play it for me, not like I learned it by reading it. So when you learn by reading versus by ear, it's a whole different thing. And so I've just never sat down and like jammed with someone. I just always sit down and play my favorite songs, or stress, or do my chords and do those things. So and then he has his whole band room and everything, like does all the different things, all the different instruments. And so but just the podcast happened because of COVID and being bored. And I also have epilepsy, so I haven't been able to do the other things that I usually do. And so I love to get out, love to do music things. And so it was just something that kind of filled time and is now taking off, which is awesome because we love music and we're all here about like, not just music, but art. Cause he's also a painter. I'm a photographer. And that's how the podcast started. I started doing photography, and then someone suggested that I do a podcast, like a music podcast. And so I do different band photography, and he does different art and different merch art and stuff. So it just all kind of gelled together nicely. Yeah. And then we've been meeting awesome people like you, and it just been, continuing on. And
I think we did the podcast also to really try and help the scene, and just kind of what you're doing, just trying to help artists, just give them that push that they need, what I mean? Or not, maybe we're not even pushing, what I mean? Just trying to help in any kind of little way that we can.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's like I said, it's very important, to me as an individual. The arts are, whether you, paint, do theater, whatever, it's.
And how hard it is to
thing.
find, other people that do these things, especially us living in Mayberry. That's that's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to find other musicians that want to do your thing. So it's been, and coming into the jam scene and, figuring out what a jamly is, it just is such a beautiful thing that it was something that we wanted to share with everyone else, come and be a part of the jam, any type of music, the jam, let's bring it together, the jamly, and love and art, and just share all these beautiful things together and these beautiful moments together, because it is a nasty place out there. And let's share the beauty together, and the people who are focused on that beauty, want to share the beauty and things and not focus on the negativity.
So who were if you had like top 5 or top 2 dream people that you could have on the podcast, who would they be?
Okay, so me, I would love to have Cher, just because she's like such a badass woman. Yeah, epic. Like, she's just such a badass woman, been through so much,
I don't even know if she's even given any interviews recently.
Yeah, I just have to like beg, like, but so I would really like to meet a lot of the female artists, because it's such a hard thing, especially with me being a female in the photography industry and the music industry and stuff. It's like, oh, well, it's easier for us to have men on the road, and it's easier for this, and it's easier, and men are always given the chances more so. And so like we have to fight even harder to try and, get those chants. And they're like, oh, well, don't you have kids? Well, yeah, but I'm aware of this. That's not your job. That's not your business. That's my business to worry about on that side. And so there are just always these stereotypes and things. And so I'd really like to talk to, I'd really like to talk to Lady Gaga, because she's been through hell and back in the music industry. And, I know that these are like,
I would like to interview David Gilmour, Pink Floyd. Just to sit down and be like, just pick his brain.
Yeah, I'd love to know like what actually happened with you and Roger Waters. Like, I could read a book. I'm sure it's somewhere, the information somewhere, but man, like that's got to be a lot.
Well, if the information's somewhere, can someone please let us know about it? Because I have asked that question for years. What happened? What happened?
Yeah. So, it could be Pink Floyd right now.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
but they're not.
Exactly.
Sometimes when I see stuff like that, it makes me realize, because I have met Trey before, and I've worked with his bandmates, and the guys from Tab, I love
Tab,
and I've met some of the guys from the Pearl Jam guys, these bands that are together for 25, 30 years that are still playing, stadiums, like also happen to be like really uniquely special human beings. Like in the few moments you get to be around them, you're like, oh, like this is actually like a really good person. And then you see what they're doing and their mentality. I think it takes a really, really special kind of group of people to stay together, is what I'm saying. Like it's so much harder than you think.
Oh yeah.
Most bands don't stay together, like Pink Floyd or the Beatles or whatever,
Definitely.
The thing that I've seen with the big bands that we've been around and stuff is that they tend to, the big bands have stayed together and still have their members and stuff. They tend to have like their family and their friends still at these shows. Like it's not like that they've just cut everyone out. Like, so I wonder if sometimes that makes it easier, because when you're just throwing, let's say 5 of y'all on the road, 3 of you on the road, and that's the only faces that you see for 6 months. Do you think it's somewhere in that you're not going to have a problem with someone's chewing, with someone's, you're going to get you're going to get an attitude sometimes. You're going to wake up on the wrong side of the bed and someone else in that small group is going to catch it. And then depending upon communications, is it going to fester with someone, or is someone else just going to, say how it is, put it on the table, and then that, make someone else hurt, so it's those things. And so I don't know, because I'm not a band, but that's one thing that I've noticed are the bands that have stayed together have and have them go on the road with them and stuff, because we were with
there's
Sublime.
There's bands that have group therapy. And do group therapy sessions and stuff.
Was it Slightly Stupid or Sublime that they had like their whole like family? They were on the road together, so it was like
definitely like a Metallica like HBO special or a big Metallica special where they do all that. Yeah. But the thing is, like, it's amazing you guys have been together for so long. It's amazing that you met in high school. Like that's a really rare. And like you have a family and you have a podcast. Like I hope that whatever you like put out there into the universe that you want, or whatever ways you think that you can connect the dots, that you get those dots connected. Because like how to do it. Like you've done it. You're 2 dots that know how 2 dots work together. Like just
right. You're exactly right. Thank you very much.
We hope you succeed in everything that you put out there too, man. You're definitely a special person, and we really appreciate you coming on, and
hopefully we can work together and help each other's dots connect and stuff. So that would be, because a lot of the things that you're saying, I'm like, man, this is like, these are dreams that I've had, and it's rare. And when you say these things to others, they're like, you're crazy. you're crazy. But they want it. But then the part of the action of just doing it is like, that's where they're like, you're crazy. That's a lot of work, you know, and it is a lot of work, but somehow it's got to get done. So thank you for being the person who does not mind doing the hard work to get it there for all of us to be here. And I'm super pumped to see everything that's coming. And all you West Coasters, you better have your tickets, number one.
Definitely.
And you know, whoever,
all eyes are coming.
Yeah, the all eyes are coming. Yeah. You have an amazing catalog of music, just different styles, different genres. So there's something for everyone out there. So I highly suggest that everyone go check it out, because you're on Spotify, all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So awesome. Well, okay. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you everyone for joining us. And we will chat soon. Thanks for coming and being here with us. So have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Ari.
Thank you, guys.